Captain's Log Supplemental. We have hit the doldrums of our current mission as we head to our next destination. The crew has been making the best of it, but I keep hearing this one conversation, or some version of it, over and over. I'm hearing it whenever I'm in the corridors, at 10 forward, even from crew on station. It is some form of the hypothetical question, who would win in a fight? 100 humans or one Salat? People keep coming up with different angles on it, too. What if the humans were just dropped into the arena? Or what if they had time to prepare? How hungry is the Salat? Are the humans trained soldiers or just regular people? What if the Salat was declawed? It's really quite fascinating how the seemingly simple subject has captured everyone's attention. For my money, it's the humans every time. At the end of the day, it just comes down to stamina. The Salat has a huge body and it takes so much energy to move it. It's just science. Come on, people.
Welcome back, everybody, for another episode of Captain's Log Supplemental. My name is Rob, and I am joined this week by my friends and co-hosts, Chris and Stanford.
Hello.
Hi. I was waiting for Chris to talk first because his name was said first.
Yeah, that's true. I was also waiting for you to talk first, and I realized he's probably waiting for me to talk first since he said my name first.
Yep, that's what I was anticipating, too. And our producer, Mariah.
Hi there.
I'm just so used to Stanford just talking all the time. I usually just let him go. You know?
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. It's like I was waiting for you to talk first because your name was said first. I was waiting for you to talk first because you're a douchebag.
So for the uninitiated here, Captain's Log Supplemental is a Star Trek rewatch podcast. We are moving ahead in chronological order by star date. We have officially finished Enterprise and have started the journey into Discovery. So, at least we get some Star Trek with plot.
Woo, plot!
Woo, plot!
We like to say at the top, the bottom of the pod, please, if you like what you hear, like, subscribe, tell your friends about us, rate and review us on your podcast supplier. It goes a long way to helping us spread the news about the show. So, how y'all doing this week?
Not too bad.
Moseying along.
Chris, do your kids do like a standardized test this year?
Yeah, they just got. Well, they do it. They do what they call map testing. I don't know exactly what it stands for, but yes, that's like kind of their standardized test they've done for the last few years.
Okay. Yeah, Liam was doing PSSAs yesterday and today, and he's got them tomorrow as well.
The PSSAs.
In Virginia, they were called the SOLs, which was so fucking funny to us.
The shit out of Lux. All right.
Oh man.
Always.
So anyways,
do you know what they call like credit card machines in like business slang?
Oh, it's POS.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, POS. Yeah.
It is amazing. When I first started our like online part of our business, I like had to find a POS thing, and like everyone was like POS this, and it took me a few minutes to be like, is this a joke? Like, this is a joke, right? It's like, no, it stands for point of sale. Everyone in the business world says POS with like a completely straight and serious face. I don't know how that's possible. Because every time I hear it, I'm like, this Shopify piece of shit. Like,
yeah, we gotta, your POS system you gotta make sure it's up to date.
Man, my POS system never seems to work right. Oh man. So Leo's been at PSSAs, so in the morning I've been kind of here by myself, and that's nice for getting some like other projects done where I don't have to help him with his schoolwork. And one of the projects I managed to get done is that I have gone ahead and put in all of the IMDb ratings for every single episode of Star Trek.
Oh, really?
Which like sounds less impressive than it really was. Like that was a pain in my ass, but I did get it done. Do you know what the worst rated Star Trek episode from all series? Do you know what the worst rated episode is?
God, there's so many options. There's some really bad episodes. The The worst episode. I don't know. Maybe that one in like the first season of Next Generation where like Tasha Yar gets like taken by a black man.
Chris, my friend, you do not understand how racist everybody on the internet is. So like, no, that's not it. Rob, you got a guess? Here, just to narrow it down for Rob, it is TNG.
Okay.
Is it I banged my grandma's ghost?
I say, is it Crusher Fucks a Ghost?
No.
Rosa?
Although that one is pretty lowly rated as well. No, it's an episode called Shades of Grey. It's like the only time in Star Trek history that they did like a clip show.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that one did suck, yeah.
Yeah, and
Isn't
it's
it-
like its rating is so bad. I had to like it's the thing that drags the standardized rating down to the point where I have to like remove the top and bottom in order to get a fair rating from IMDb.
Wow. Yeah, wasn't it like at the end of a season too? It was like the second to...
Yeah, it's like the season finale of season 2. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And they made it a clip show.
Yeah.
Masquerading as like I think like going through Riker's memories or something, if I recall
Correct.
correctly.
Yes, nicely done.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a 3.2 on IMDb.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's real bad. Threshold for reference is like 5.3. Threshold, for example, is 5.3, and this shit got a 3.2.
That's bad.
Yep. So if you're wondering,
weird to think that like Threshold is someone out there's favorite episode of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, it definitely ends with somebody's weird kink, so...
I guess, I mean, at this point, Scaley's isn't even really that weird. I guess then the point of this is that Shades of Grey is in fact the only episode of Star Trek that is no one's favorite.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a clip show. It is.
Yeah, and I will say I'm actually fairly impressed at Star Trek. It's actually kind of a surprising accolade that they only managed to have one clip show because that shit was fucking everywhere in the 90s. It seemed like every show, like even the sitcoms were doing clip shows back then.
Yeah, you usually get one of those a season per show.
Yeah, Stargate had one a season and it was the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Oh, Stargate.
You know, it's funny. We were talking about the one where Tashiar gets captured. The woman who wrote that basically also wrote the same episode in Stargate SG-1.
Yes, I heard about that. It turns out this is like it's a thing for her. For the blonde white woman to be taken by like the big black man is like her kink, which like, you know, in the privacy of your own whatever, man, I'm not gonna but you can't put that racist shit on TV, man. Like, what are you doing?
Isn't that like the second or third episode of SG-1 too?
It's pretty early on.
It's pretty early, yeah.
Just like it was in Next Generation.
Yeah.
It was earlier than you would have expected in Next Generation, yeah. Because it's like time travel, the whole ship gets taken over a couple times, fucking Q, and then, oh, by the way, some racist ass shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
All right, well, this week's episode is Season 1, Episode 3, Context is for Kings. And I don't know if this is always the case, but they do wind up saying the title in the episode.
I did at one point in my notes. I was like, hey, he said the thing. I was also wondering if that is always the case, although the next episode title is very fucking strange. So I don't know that will continue to be the case.
So
yeah, they don't usually like to swear.
I also note that my notes for this show, 3 episodes in, are like double the amount of notes I had compared to Enterprise, because a lot more is going on.
Yeah, I'm actually noticing that mine are at least like a little longer. Yeah. I am finding that I'm having an easier time remembering what happened though in this show because it's put together better. Like, it's easier to retell the narrative because like it actually has one.
It's cohesive.
Yeah. And I mean, like, genuinely, like, biases as well. Like, I'm enjoying myself more, so that probably helps, too.
True. Yeah,
like, it's easier to remember what's going on when I'm not rolling my eyes every 3 seconds.
Screaming fuck at the top of your lungs.
So yeah, we get another fun recap to start the show. I'm guessing that's just going to be a thing from here on out.
I assume so.
Maybe it's just because I watch it on Paramount and I usually just hit the skip recap button
Hell
on those
yeah.
shows. But I don't remember watching all of these my first time through. We start on a not so friendly Federation mining prison transport, which it is a thing apparently. The prisoners immediately start to like give Burnham shit.
There's no resource scarcity, but we still have forced labor for prisoners.
Yep.
Well, someone's got to mine that dilithium, baby. The one thing too about this is like, I actually like this episode a fair amount, but this moment here didn't make a lot of sense when the woman was like, "You're the reason my sister died," or whatever. Because, like, no, she's not. And no one would think that. What she should have said, because this is both what the character is actually going through and, like, relevant to actual things that people face, is why does a traitorous bitch like you get to survive when my sister died? And that would have been a much better line, because then Michael could have been like, I ask myself the same question every day. Because, like, that's what Michael's going through. She's got survivor's guilt.
Yeah, I remember thinking this when I watched this originally too, that she gets blamed for this when really, like, she absolutely mutinied. That is a fact, and you know, that's true. But none of her actions actually resulted in anything.
Right. The closest thing you could theoretically suggest that she did to start this conflict was maybe killing that one dude on the thing. But I'm not sure that ever seems to really matter. Like, everyone's talking about her being the mutineer, which, side note, badass name. Like, just stick with that.
What a nickname.
But, like, yeah, like, her mutiny failed. She's a mutineer, but it failed. So no one, I don't see why anyone would reasonably, like, even unreasonably in a moment of emotion, think that she is the cause of the war.
Right. She didn't fire on the ship. Like, she got as close as commanding people to target them, and that was it.
Right. Anyways, they're on the shuttle.
Yep. There are some fun, creepy little electric bugs that start feeding off of the transport's power, you know, from outside of the transport, because that's how energy works, I guess.
Hey man,
so, you know,
naturally,
the pilot decides she's gonna go and
scrape the barnacles off.
Okay. Yep. The pilot's like, well, I'll be back, and then just leaves. And also, like, she's the only pilot on board, which I found kind of weird. Like, she's the only other person on this shuttle.
No security personnel whatsoever for the prisoners.
Nope. Yeah, so she steps out. Her tether immediately snaps.
Not immediately. Perfectly comedically timed.
It was pretty. There were a couple moments in this episode where I'm like, all right, that was pretty fucking funny. And this is one of them. Where, like, the pilot goes tumbling by the window right after she's like, the pilot will take care of things. And then it's just like gone.
It's like she just has to do this in enough time, and there she goes.
It was kind of weird because, like, she steps out of the transport, right? She flew forward compared to the transport.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it's just moving at one speed at that point, right?
No. Like, she was on a tether.
Yeah, and then she, like, went forward in front of the shuttle when she...
Yeah, she was in the back. She's moving forward, gets hit by electricity, and then it snaps the tether and throws her forward. Relative to the shuttle, she's not moving at all. The shuttle is at a static speed. It's not accelerating right now.
Right, so, but, like, why was she moving forward? Like,
to get up to the bugs. They were on the window.
Right.
What accelerated her,
I
think, is the question.
RCS thrusters or
something? I don't know. Whatever the
suit?
fuck snapped her tether. Okay, so here's actually a better question. Was this all orchestrated? Did Lorca kill this pilot?
So that's what I was wondering after the episode too. Like, I'm wondering if this was just a weird coincidence or if he killed this woman.
And I can't remember if these prisoners ever show back up.
I don't think they do.
I don't remember them showing back up.
So yeah, they regardless, the pilot's now floating off into space, leaving them for dead. The computer is kind enough to start, blaring alarm klaxons because it doesn't know what else to do, I guess. But don't worry, Discovery comes to the rescue.
By the way, Burnham was very unconcerned the entire time.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, guess she's dead.
Yeah.
Guess we're all dead. Okay.
Burnham's like, thank God, in the sweet embrace of death.
Yeah, so it turns out all the pilot needed to do was fly above the super dangerous electric
did you
clouds.
see how small that cloud was? Like, she could have just not flown through it. Yeah.
But it's a pretty cloud.
My note is like, why didn't the shuttle
big.
fly around the tiny cloud?
So at this point, we meet Landry, Disco security chief. She mentions, and I'm kind of curious to get your take on this, that Burnham is Starfleet's first mutineer.
Yeah, I also had a note on that. Like, really? Like, there's not been any other ones before this?
No one has been convicted of mutiny before Michael Burnham. And, fun fact, in the show, no one has been convicted since either. Now, dereliction of duty, disobeying orders, these things, yes. But mutiny is a very specific crime. She's the only one who's ever been convicted of it. I'm not saying mutinies haven't happened. I am saying that this is the only time a court-martial was performed and a guilty verdict was rendered.
Yeah, like, do you remember the episode where Archer got high on, like, space ant junk and was like, trying to raise babies? And like,
and that's one of those things where it's like even if that court-martial did happen, like, it would be reasonable for them to find that there were mitigating circumstances that mean that mutiny charge should be dropped, right?
Sure.
Because like, so far only Enterprise really counts for this accolade, but like, I can't think of any time on Enterprise where like mutiny occurred and like there wasn't some kind of mitigating circumstance.
Right.
Yeah, and I guess Mirror Universe Enterprise doesn't count because Mirror Universe.
Yeah, and also mutiny I don't think is a crime there either. It's because it's just like how promotion happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're Landry's walking him down the corridors of Disco now, and we see the first black badges on uniforms show up. So
that was a completely unnecessary call out.
Yeah. You know what I'm realizing more and more? The new like real showrunner behind Star Trek, Alex Kurtzman, I think he's just got a real big hard on for Section 31.
Oh yeah, we all agree. Everyone agrees. he has said that out loud, that he likes the concepts of Section 31.
Why?
Because they remind him of the CIA, the good guys protecting us from the bad guy people that we don't see.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they Landry decides that she's gonna feed the prisoners, so they drop them all off at the mess hall.
I have a general question. Why don't we treat prisoners any better in the year 23, whatever the fuck?
That's what I was saying before. Like, we still have forced prison labor. We're still doing that.
Yeah, but like, you still have to be an asshole and I guess time to feed the animals. It's like, calm the fuck down, Landry. What do you have to prove right now?
That too.
Man,
it's like,
you guys are gonna love the deep dive. It's gonna be real fun and
amazing. I am looking forward to it.
So yeah, inside of mess hall, Burnham runs into Kayla, the Shenzhou's pilot, who like kind of ducks her head and avoids making eye contact with Burnham, which fair.
Right, she's got the implants now too, which she did before.
This is one of those things where it's like, oh, that's right. There were writers that were capable of shit, because like this is actually a good little moment because they don't dwell on it. It's just like, oh shit, you recognize her, you see she's got implants, you see her avoid eye contact, and we don't bring it up again. Like, yeah, she'll come in contact with this person again in a later episode, but like, that's it. That's all you get.
No, it's okay. Saru's gonna make up for her silence. Don't worry.
Fucking Saru.
So yeah, they're sitting down to eat. Burnham's looking for a seat, decides to eat with her fellow prisoners, and they just decide it's time to kill her. So they,
like
the one guy reaches across the table and tries to punch her,
Meanwhile, like, Landry's like classic fucking American prison guard. Just like, no, let them fuck each other up.
Yeah, because
it's not just her. It's like the whole crew.
Well, the one guard, the one guard with the gun was about to like, hey, stop it with his gun. And Landry's like, no, I want to see this play out.
It's like the Godzilla movies, like, let them fight. So yeah, eventually, once Burnham has successfully like Vulcan kung fu'd them into submission, Landry pulls a phaser on her and escorts her to the bridge because that's what you do.
Like the timing of Captain wants to see you after she draws the pistol, fucking good line. All right, that was a good one. And also, she's like, Vulcan martial arts, huh? Burnham threw like some real like textbook standard elbows and punches. I'm not sure what was Vulcan about it really. It was
I was like, man, the Vulcan martial arts have progressed a lot since DePaul. Jeez.
Yeah, they're basically just street brawling at this point.
Much more effective, really.
Yeah. So they make their way to the bridge where she sees Saru sitting in the captain's chair. But they don't really have time to talk much because Landry escorts her to Lorca's very dark ready room.
Hanging out in the dark.
Yeah. That's going to come back later.
I like how like the show does that kind of sin of like, well, if we mention the trope, then it's not stupid. Because he's like, look how sinister I look when I'm hanging out in my dark room. Woo! Like, it's basically the exact line from the show.
Yeah, they did that. They also did some more subtle foreshadowing too, which I appreciated. Just in like, how Lorca talks.
Did you notice that his eyes were mirrors?
Yes.
Subtle.
So subtle.
I mean, like, joke's on me. I didn't know until they fucking told us, like, 6 episodes from now or whatever it is. Like,
spoilers.
So yeah, he tries to hand Burnham a fortune cookie, which she refuses.
Just a bowl of stale fortune cookies opened and exposed on his desk.
Yeah. I like that it's like his family's old business.
So I know that like everyone knows the trivia that came out of like Iron Man 3 that fortune cookies are actually an American thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like they were a Japanese company. Like just to let just because that trivia is stupid, they were like Japanese immigrants. But like anyways, like it feels appropriative, right? Or am I just crazy?
I mean, who cares? Like,
he's like the whitest person that's ever been in this universe, except for Archer. And he's like, check out my fortune cookies. It's a family. It's a family industry.
Maybe some white people make some fortune cookies now. You don't know.
Yeah, and also like, I don't know. They're in a completely unified Earth. Like, there's got to be a lot of cultural intermingling going on in the future. I feel like I understand and appreciate the idea of appropriation, but I don't know that it would be as big of a deal in a future world like that.
Right. I'm not saying it's a problem like in the canon of the universe. I'm saying that the optics of it in like 2017 television,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Through
that's
lens,
my issue.
Like, yeah.
I don't give a fuck about Lorca and his goddamn fortune cookies. I am saying that like having the white person be like, my family company makes fortune cookies feels something,
I lost my place in the notes.
Lorca's hanging out in the dark room like Captain Black from Captain Scarlet.
Yeah. Yeah. So Burnham immediately picks up on the fact that the prison transport getting picked up on by Disco was not a coincidence and was in fact orchestrated by Lorca, which again begs the question of whether or not he just murdered this poor pilot.
Speaking of Lorca, did you guys catch the tribble?
Yeah, it's on his desk here and then later too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just tribbling away.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a I believe it is a what's the word? A spade tribble. Like it can't read.
Oh, that's good. Lorca then makes an executive decision to deputize Burnham to help out with a little project that might just win the war against the Klingons.
I like how Lorca's like, there's no free rides on my ship, and it's like, bitch, she didn't ask to be here. Like, what the fuck?
Also, technically, they don't have money in the Federation, so everything's free.
Yep.
Huh.
Also, he says how he's going to use her, which is gross.
Ew.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're next introduced to the best character in the show.
Yep. So Landry escorts Burnham to her quarters where we meet Tilly, who is very concerned that her roommate was the famous mutineer Michael Burnham.
Not at first, though.
No, at first she's very excited that she now has a forced friend who will be required to interact with her.
Oh, Tilly, come on. I like how she's like, I don't have a roommate because I'm allergic to a certain type of foam. And it's like, so there's no one else in the entire Starfleet that is willing to sleep on a different kind of foam with you? Like, what the fuck?
Like, I like to think that the implication was that just, like, everybody just disliked her that much.
I think that is the implication, and it makes me very sad.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's also kind of weird that there's this random cadet on this, like, super ultra top secret ship.
Well, she was so good at what she does. She got fast-tracked.
Yeah.
They threw that little justification in.
Yeah. When she's talking in engineering.
She could have just been an ensign. It would have been fine.
Yeah, I also agree with that.
I don't see what her being a cadet served, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
I think just to show her inexperience. I think that's what they were trying to drive home. By just making her a cadet, instead of an ensign.
Sure.
So yeah, the awkward conversation is quickly relieved when we get our first black alert. And then shit gets weird. The ship seems to start sweating, and then the little water molecules start floating, and Burnham is very intrigued.
It just occurred to me, I don't think this sweating was ever explained.
Nope, they just note that the walls get a bit moist, and then they don't say anything about it.
As well as there's like, clearly they intended that to be like a thing, capital A, capital T, but like they just dropped it,
Yep.
Yeah. Probably too hard on the CG budget.
Well, and not even that, but like they just stopped caring about that particular point as they further fleshed out what was actually going on, because it's not like they knew exactly what was going on when they filmed this pilot.
Right. Yeah, after Tilly, just rolls over and refuses to talk with Burnham anymore.
You mean Mickey?
Or Mickey, yeah. Oh, God. Oh, Tilly. So yeah, they both get some sleep. The next morning, Saru picks Burnham up for the shift and drops her off at engineering for work.
Did you see that Lobot walk by them?
I did, yeah.
And they waited outside engineering because first Michael needed to give a speech, and then Saru needed to give a counter speech.
Yeah. Burnham fails to apologize. So Saru kind of like spits it out for her, which was weird. But he also, mentions that she's got to play nice, or he might, just have to kill her because she did a poor job of defending her captain, and he's not going to make the same mistake.
He says he intends to do a better job, implying that he's going to be keeping his eye on her, but then immediately leaves her unsupervised in this hallway outside engineering.
Yep.
Yeah.
Inside, the engineers are less than friendly with Burnham. Stamets continues the trend before giving her some code to reconcile without explaining anything. And I'm sure there are 0 comments in this code, and it was probably infuriating.
Oh, okay. Hey, I got a thing.
When there's some trivia you can't miss, it's a fun fact. Quick, Chris.
Okay, so that code that he gives her apparently has been identified as
fucking
being
dorks.
Microsoft Windows coding, specifically a decompiled code for the Stuxnet virus.
Oh shit! I don't know what that is.
I also don't know. Thought
that was interesting.
You should be.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not enough of a nerd to know what a Stuxnet virus is. So he's like, reconcile these 2 suites of code, which like, maybe I don't know what the word reconcile means, but that's either meaningless or like a job a computer can do in like less than a second. What is he asking her to do?
Okay. Sorry, I just looked it up and it was interesting, so I wanted to share. The Stuxnet is a computer worm that was originally aimed at Iran's nuclear facilities and has since mutated and spread to other industrial and energy-producing sectors.
Oh, this is the one that hit all of their centrifuges. I do remember this.
I do remember that. I don't I don't care for that article or whatever's use of the word mutated, because that makes it seem like it did it on its own, which it did
Right.
not. It was
Yeah.
reprogrammed by other people.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. So anyways, he says reconcile these codes, and I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I don't know what he's asking her to do.
Yeah, nobody does. So anyway, we get a time lapse, and everyone else is left for the day. It's really just Burnham and Stamets. Stamets is sitting in a corner talking with his buddy on the USS Glenn, a colleague of his working on the same science work that he is. He's put off by her lurking behind him, and gives her the cold shoulder before disappearing into the secret fungus farm that they just keep on a starship.
So, just side note here, the concept of a breath scan is stupid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why?
No, you're not going to get any pushback from us on that. Like, that's
No.
What are we doing here? Why do we have to be different and make it a breath scan for security? Like,
and
come
also,
on.
like my shit job that I had several years ago, had better security than a breath scan. It had like a fucking eyeball detector, and you had to put in a code, and you had to have a badge. Because that's the thing, right? Those are the 3 steps of security: something you have, something you know, and something you are, right? So like breath, I guess, would be something you are. You don't have to punch in a fucking code or swipe a badge.
Mm-hmm.
No, you just, breathe real hard.
You just make sure you're not alcoholic right now, and then you go in.
Yeah. 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 It's a breathalyzer. You're not allowed to go in if your blood alcohol content's too high. Yeah. Don't worry though. Because Burnham managed to get in by sopping up some of Tilly's drool. Yeah. And then
the cadet
getting like an air compressor to
I think
spray
it's a hypo
into
spray.
the breathalyzer.
Yeah.
Oh, is it a hypo spray?
Yeah, she just like sprays a hypo spray across the drool soaked like napkin, and it works.
Yep.
Why does the cadet have access to this top secret super duper facility?
Shut the fuck up. That's why.
Oh,
It's okay because she was briefed, so don't worry about it.
So that reminds me, because fun fact about your breath, it's spit and germs coming out. So when we blow out candles on a birthday cake, it's spit cake.
Yeah.
Delicious spit cake.
Yeah, just remember, everybody, if you smell something with your nose, it means that a small piece of it has entered your nose.
Like
So,
poop.
Yep, when you smell poop or farts, it's because it is in your nose. Congratulations.
It's just your body functioning as intended.
Boy, that was gross, and you'll need another dose. It's a gross fact with Mariah.
Yeah, so Burnham finds the mushroom farm, and we don't really get a whole lot more other than now she kind of knows that there's a mushroom farm. Top secret, top above top secret.
It's like super duper ultra maxi extreme secret. Yeah.
Yep. Alerting him that the USS Glenn, Discovery's sister ship, and its crew have been lost on the border with Klingon territory. Stamets is understandably upset at the death of his colleague, but Lorca couldn't care less. Lorca insists that Stamets brings all of the project materials back from the USS Glenn, and then says, "Oh yeah, and bring Burnham, because you definitely want to bring a prisoner and a cadet, because Tilly goes with."
Well, I would say it doesn't. The fact that Lorca's decision doesn't make any sense. We know why Lorca's making these decisions, and to be fair to the writers of this show, the other characters are all like, why the fuck does he keep doing this with this random mutineer? So you're right. It doesn't make sense that the captain would send the fucking prisoner on this away mission, and everyone else agrees with you, but Lorca's obviously got his own fucking thing going on.
Yeah. On the way there, aboard the transport, we get a very awkward apology from Burnham. From Lily to Burnham.
Tilly?
Tilly is the best.
Tilly?
She's just
Tilly.
the best.
Jesus. I'm sorry. I'm operating on not a whole lot of sleep right now, so I'm probably going to keep calling her Lily by accident. She apologizes to Burnham because while they were at engineering, she tried to avoid being associated with Burnham because she's basically just a little kid at this point and is very concerned with self-image and not having the rest of the crew hate her.
And yeah, like I don't know, to anyone who's actually not seen this, to be clear, she's not like a child. She's like in her early to mid 20s, I would say. Because there's it's
like
Starfleet Academy. She's an advanced cadet in Starfleet Academy. So you think of it like college, maybe even like a grad school program kind of age.
Yeah, you're basically a college grad at this point. So yeah, Stamets turns and then speeches at Burnham for a couple of minutes about quantum mechanics.
Such a great, stupid speech.
Yeah. He also complains about the warmongering of Lorca, in front of his like right-hand gal with Landry just sitting there judging him.
I mean, to be honest, that's within Stamets' character, so that's fine. Like, I think it was a reasonable thing to say. But then he breaks into another speech about why he's a scientist.
Yeah. We get like his entire backstory exposed at us for a good couple of minutes here.
And then he's like Starfleet co-opted our research, which like I don't understand that sentence because Stamets works for Starfleet. So obviously like his research belonged to Starfleet already.
Yep. It sure did. We then go full horror movie mode. As the away team enters a dark hallway aboard the USS Glenn. And they find some really horrible body horror.
Puddle flesh?
Did y'all figure out ahead of time? It was really subtle who was gonna die on this away mission.
Yeah, they identified the red shirt pretty handily.
The one guy none of us had ever seen before.
Yeah. As they start heading toward engineering, they start spotting things, in parallel corridors, like running between doors and stuff. A little further in, they find a Klingon batleth on the ground, in front of an automatic door that's just failing to close because a severed foot is in the way. And then they see some Klingons who clearly showed up after the accident because everybody who was there during the accident is now just an amorphous blob of flesh and bone.
Helical trauma is what they called it, which is a gross sentence.
Yeah,
it is. Tilly then threatens to shoot her phaser at the darkness because she saw something, and a Klingon walks out.
You know what?
And then shushes the away team.
Fair enough. Tilly did the right things. Like, you in the shadows step forward.
Yeah.
Like, that was a surprisingly like interesting line for someone to say.
So, quick note on this. The writing staff considered it important that it was Tilly who sees the Klingon in the dark on board the USS Glenn because they wanted it to show that her doing something would like validate her presence in the minds of viewers who were doubtful as to why Tilly deserved to have a place aboard the Discovery.
Fair enough. Yeah. I think it did a good job showing that she's not just like a coward or whatever. She's just a little like socially nervous, but she's competent at what she's doing. Like,
right. And that, like I said, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. Although
my God.
This was fucking funny. I'm sorry. This was fucking funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so yes, it was absolutely funny, but also what the fuck?
No. This is what I'm here for, baby.
Yeah, no, this was absolutely great. I'm on your side here, Stanford. Yeah, the Klingon comes out and then shushes the away team, right? And Landry goes, "Did he just shush us?" And he immediately is grabbed by, alien space monster and pulled into the dark corridor behind them. Like, perfect timing. I loved it. No notes.
And that's how the red shirt dies?
No, that's the Klingon.
Well, no, he dies next.
He's next.
The Klingon was the one who died. Yeah, so they start booking it for engineering, and like right before they get into the door for engineering, of course, Red Shirt gets it.
My next note is, oh no, the nameless dude.
Yeah. Well, Landry does shout out a name.
His name, yeah, but I didn't catch it either. I was too busy writing that note.
Yeah. They get the door shut, but the monster's clearly smashing his way through. Tammet, Stilly, and Jesus.
Doing your best, Rob.
Tammet, Stilly.
Damn it, Stilly.
Damn it, Stilly. Damn it, Bobby.
God damn it, Bobby.
Stamets, Tilly, and Burnham start, scouring the scene for evidence, right? They find this weird hunk of computer that was just clearly like physically hacked into whatever control panel they were using.
Stamets finds his friend too.
Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
he also
And
finds his buddy.
My note.
we get a real good close up of the flesh pile.
My
on that
my
one.
note here is why the long face and then a bunch of rolls.
Oh my god.
He says that's because dude's like chin was like separated from his upper face.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
like face was now like 2 feet long, like from forehead
Yeah.
to chin. Yeah. He looks
Yeah,
like
it was
you know what he
definitely,
looks like? He looks like the Scream photo.
Looks like a
the
Habsburg.
painting.
Those huge chins.
Oh.
Chins for miles.
Man.
So yeah, they rip this thing off of the console, and they realize that the thing's going to make it through. So Burnham asks for a phaser. Landry says, "We're not giving a prisoner a phaser." Stamets is like, "Here, have a phaser."
Stamets
And-
like, I don't give a fuck. Here, take the phaser. Yeah.
Yeah. So as soon as, Monster Tardigrade pokes his head through the door, she starts blasting, lures it into a Jeffries tube while everybody else gets away. And along the way, just creepily starts reciting
the fuck
Alice
was
in
that?
Wonderland.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
what the fuck
not
was
sure
that?
what the purpose of quoting Lewis Carroll here throughout this whole scene was, because like
I don't know.
it wasn't even entirely relevant. It was just
Nope.
it seemed like they were trying to set up that scene at the end with Alice in Wonderland, but like
Yeah.
Also, yes, clearly I think that's what they were trying to do, but also like in what world does it make sense that somebody crawling from their life from this monster would be just randomly, calmly, by the way,
well, she's a
quoting
Vulcan, right?
Alice in
Like,
Wonderland.
She's
No,
got that Vulcan
already-
training.
We went over this in this episode specifically that she is not a Vulcan.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Stamets was mistaken.
Stamets is very upset about it.
No, but like she does have that Vulcan training since she was a child, so I can see. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I can see why it makes sense that she would be relatively calm in a stressful situation, but it's just a weird like use of this Lewis Carroll quote.
Yeah. That's okay though. She redirects the away team with their transport under a vent that she's going to drop out of, and she does the very cool like Black Widow superhero landing
This is a
Fuck yeah,
superhero
she
that
landing.
her sister makes fun of.
Which, frankly, the real hero was the pilot who lined those vents up correctly.
Yeah, right. So yeah, she drops out of the tube into the transport and then books it. Burnham then meets up with Saru aboard the bridge, back in her prisoner clothes, before seeing Lorca what she thought would be one last time. Except, whoops, she's now part of the crew.
Well, right. Well, we also get a nice shot of Robot Lady, who's now in charge of the bridge for some reason.
Oh yeah, what is her name?
I don't remember.
Agram?
She becomes super important like later.
Yeah, there's like a whole episode centered around.
A couple of them, yeah. But until then, it's just like, who's this random? Like that's an entire ass robot right there.
Yeah. So yeah, she's a little testy about all the secrets that Lorca's keeping, and she, like, after he extends the offer to bring her on board as crew, she says that she doesn't want to be she doesn't want to be involved in a bioweapon development project. She doesn't want to violate the Geneva Convention, right? She speeches about how you could take the officer out of Starfleet, but you can't take Starfleet out of the officer. And
oh god, that is basically what she said, isn't it? That's funny.
Yep, it really is. Lorca then beams her. They do the horizontal beaming thing that they were talking about.
What
takes her down? That's what they called it.
No, it's site to site.
Horizontal beam?
They said site to site.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. They wind up back in engineering. Lorca fills Burnham in on the whole mycelial network.
He's like,
spore drive.
Here, get into this room that can only be described as an infectomatic.
Yeah. This is definitely not a gas chamber like they had on that one space station. Cold storage? Cold
storage 12 or whatever the fuck. Cold station 12. Whatever,
Cold station. Yeah.
Cold station, yeah. So yeah, after she sees the fancy new spore drive, she then takes the fortune cookie and agrees to stay aboard Discovery.
I like how so you kind of skip some of the like critical stuff here, which is that like he's explaining what's going on, right? And he's like, they got 90,000 light years or 90 light years in a second and a half. And she's like, how'd you get there so fast? And Lorca's like, a mushroom network, duh. And she's like, oh, right, I'm so sorry for asking. And then he puts her in the Effectomatic, and then she's just like, what happened? Did she go to
that
these
was also
places?
my question here. Like, it also kind of sounded like he was showing her places that they've been or like could go to. Yeah, it wasn't clear there.
I was under the impression that what was happening was that she is being temporarily transported to these different locations so that she could see how this kind of network worked, which like seems like they've got that part pretty well nailed down because he was announcing where she was going as he's doing his little speech, right? So like maybe instead of a ship, you just send a bunch of fucking troops somewhere because obviously you got that part figured out.
But like, so like the funny thing about this, when you think about it, is for all she knows, she's just in there huffing mushrooms and tripping balls.
Tripping balls, straight balls, because they don't have holograms yet, right? Like, yeah.
Nope. Yeah, there's no holosuites yet.
Yeah, this is where we get the name drop for the episode too.
Oh, he said the thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
He says the thing.
Yeah. Which, by the way, side note here, the executive producer Aaron Harbridge explained that the episode title Context is for Kings, related to trying to see what Starfleet and the Federation are up against in this particular context. And the idea that Lorca was a captain who really almost could only exist in this particular context with Starfleet at war.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know, that felt self-explanatory. Like, I felt like that, like, Context is for Kings is a good line. I didn't realize it was written for this show. It sounds like a quote from, like, an Alex Dumas thing. But, like, it's, like, I understood immediately when I saw the sentence, Context for Kings. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. Like, the soldiers on the grounds, they don't get context. They just do what they're told. You know, only the kings have the wealth and the power to actually get context for conflicts. Yeah, makes sense to me.
Yeah. So he winds up luring Burnham in with the prospect of like, yeah, you may have started this war, but if you help me, you might be able to end the war. And
side note again, she did not start the war.
It sure didn't.
She didn't start the fire.
Nope.
It was always burning.
Yeah.
We get a fun little scene in the mess hall where Saru's like Spidey sense danglers come out as he watches the prison transport leave.
His threat ganglia.
Threat ganglia.
Yeah.
I like how his species is like genetically predisposed to be little bitches. Like,
back in their quarters, Tilly's very happy to see Burnham return. She's also surprised to see Michael's paper copy of Alice in Wonderland, because who has books in this day and age?
Is that a fucking book?
Yeah. And then the last scene of the episode is Lorca and Landry hanging out in his creepy alien fossil torture collection room.
Just weird sexual tension between them.
Yeah, watching the USS Glenn just get wrecked.
They're gonna fuck in front of that monster later. Yeah.
She's like, anything for you, Daddy.
We also find out that they beamed the giant tardigrade aboard for Lorca to keep as a pet.
Ooh, we don't know it's a tardigrade. Actually,
we don't know it's a tardigrade yet.
For
a
while. Yeah. So kind of an interesting note about the Alice in Wonderland thing, because she said that her human mom would read it to her and her brother, which do we know it's Spock? I guess Sarek. Yeah, I guess we know it's Spock.
I mean, anybody who knows the lore would. But
I don't know. There might be Sarek might be like Steven on Vulcan. Who the fuck knows? There might be 1,000 Sareks.
Maybe.
But anyways, she said that her mom would read it to her so that her and her brother would understand that sometimes the real world doesn't always adhere to logic. That is actually, I don't know if this was intentional, but that is actually the point of Alice in Wonderland, theoretically. Yep. Is that like Lewis Carroll was a mathematician and he was complaining about like this new type of math that had shown up where like anything could just be any fucking number. He was basically complaining about imaginary numbers. Like, to put it very simply, it's not that simple, but like I'm not a mathematician, so that's as much as I can understand. So like he wrote this book as a way to like criticize that. It's like, oh, well, I guess things could just get big and small whenever the fuck they want because your math is stupid. So it's actually kind of interesting that that's like the point that they were using with this book, because that was actually this book's original intent.
So just a side note, Kelsey and I actually got to visit Oxford when we were in the UK. and we went to there's this very cool little like chapel on campus where there's a stained glass window with like Alice in Wonderland characters in it. Very neat. We also got to visit what was allegedly Alice's like favorite candy store because Alice was actually based on the dean's young daughter.
Lewis Carroll
was
very
creepily
very inappropriate pictures of. Yes,
he just wanted to take pictures of her.
Yeah, it's not a good thing.
No.
Oh, no.
It was very weird.
Yeah,
Kelsey is a huge Alice in Wonderland fan.
And Carol was like some kind of clergyman. So like
that made it worse.
Yeah, that doesn't make it better.
No. On that note, on a scale of 1 to 5 where 0 is threshold, what are you guys giving this week's episode?
Do you want me to go first, Chris?
I'm not sorry. I'll go. I think it was a 4 for me. It was good pacing on it. The story was interesting. Interesting happened. A little too speechy, but I feel like it's going to be theme. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good. Little fun moments. Enjoyed it thoroughly.
Actually, I was going to also give it a 4. I had a good time. I agree. The pacing was pretty well done. They did a good job. So this is one of the few episodes that's like actually in a 3-act structure instead of the 4-act structures that Star Trek usually is, that TV usually is because of the commercial breaks. This one is broken into 3 distinct acts, and they are like well separated acts. There's an interesting like beginning, middle, and end of each act, and like it actually puts the narrative together very well. And like, the story was interesting. We're finding out some things that matter. We're finding out some things that like should matter, but we don't know about yet. So like, I don't know. I thought it was good. 4.
I also gave this one a 4, and it was funny because I was thinking, like, especially after last week when we saw like Michelle Yeoh acting well as compared to what we saw in Section 31. It's really weird that they had like a formula like this where, again, like Stanford pointed out, 3-act structure, like just do more of this, turn it into a feature-length movie. Like, I don't understand how they failed so miserably. It's why.
Yep.
I agree. IMDb also gave it a 4.
Cool.
Under the new corrections, by the way, IMDb gave the first 2 episodes 3s, so IMDb also agrees that this was a little...
Great. Well, then we're going to take a break, and we'll be back for this week's Deep Dive. All right, welcome back. For this week's Deep Dive, I thought we could take a look into Incarceration in Star Trek.
I have a lot of thoughts about this.
Well, I've covered it's not just the Federation, but we kind of end on the Federation because oh boy. I think the most basic thing that we see used frequently, especially in Enterprise, pretty heavily made use of it. The break. Every ship has a break, right? I don't know why, but it's used a lot. I guess it makes sense. It's used a lot for like a story or a plot device in Star Trek episodes. And for whatever reason, every once in a while, you wind up with a captain like Archer who likes to pretend to be a tough guy and fail miserably to, scare people because you put him in a tiny room. I don't know. Ship breaks. There's also some pretty big internment camps. Things like in Enterprise I think it was in season 1, right? The episode Detained, where we get, is it Sam from Quantum Leap?
Yeah, I don't remember if that was season 1 or season 2, but yes, the where the Suliban work camp or whatever the fuck that was.
Yep, yeah, where they keep them segregated from the rest of society, as you do. Same thing happened on Bajor during the Cardassian occupation in Deep Space Nine. We also saw during the Dominion War, internment camp 371. That was that like crazy asteroid mining colony. There's also a number of labor camps, also during the Dominion Wars, like when the Breen come back and start being a thing. There was one Breen labor camp that was liberated by Kira. We also get a Romulan labor camp fell caught. So, do you remember that like weird Quark business contact? He had like a really long, crazy nose. Can't remember his name.
Dude,
Oh,
I
no,
do
it is
not.
Felicat, yeah.
I do not remember a lot of DS9.
Yeah. So he was held in a Romulan camp for trying to steal some Romulan ale because apparently not only is it illegal to smuggle into the Federation, you're just not allowed to take it from the Romulans. Well, I guess it's stealing, so that makes sense.
Yeah, like if you didn't pay for it, that's what stealing means. Yeah, like
Yeah. We also get a lot of examples of penal colonies. It's funny because like in the original series, Kirk talks a lot about the rehabilitation of prisoners and moving away from just leaving them places, but also in the episodes with Khan, he is reluctant to bring him to a rehabilitation center and instead opts to just leave him in exile on a planet, hoping that he'll never be in contact with anybody important ever again.
yeah, I don't think Kirk really thought that through, if I'm honest.
No, I don't think so either. Some other famous penal colonies. So again, from Enterprise, do you remember the Canamar episode where they're on the prison transport? Because
Yeah.
the Enolians captured Trip and Archer.
Yeah, with Captain What's His Face with the feathers on his face. Oh my god.
Yeah. It also had like our favorite side character that Chris absolutely despised. Can't remember his name. Oh my god. Like the little like fronds coming off of his face.
Oh, yeah. I hate that guy.
Yeah.
Klingons also had Ruapenthe. Again, Enterprise. Enterprise had a lot of jails, I'm realizing, as I researched all of this.
Considering that it only had 4 seasons, that is impressive.
It is impressive. This is the one where it's the Klingon penal colony where Archer meets that Klingon ambassador and then breaks out. And now we make it to the Federation. Federation also had a whole bunch of penal colonies. Famously, Tom Paris was housed in one on New Zealand because I guess they kicked out all of the residents and turned it into a penal colony.
They didn't say. I don't think it was. I was not under the impression that all of New Zealand was a penal colony, just like they're part of it. I think it was just like a town.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. That makes it a little bit better, I guess. Yeah, the Federation definitely joins into the fun. In the original series, there's a couple more that you guys are going to love these episodes. So Tantalus 5 is both a prison and a mental health hospital.
Yay, 1967.
Yep. And the episode there is about some very unethical medical experiments that one of the lead doctors is carrying out in the facility. Elba Colony, also known as Elba Colony for the Criminally Insane. Another TOS episode.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
Classy.
So wait, they had 2
just
separate Arkham Asylum like episodes?
Tantalus 5 wasn't really an Arkham Asylum. Elba definitely was.
Oh, okay.
Like that was Criminally Insane. Like they were just trying to keep them separated from the rest of society.
Sure.
Nice.
And then the Federation also has my personal favorite.
Rob's favorite prison.
It's the computer prison with Peanut Hamper at Daystrom Institute.
Peanut Hamper.
Yeah.
The megalomaniacal. Yeah, whatever. The ones that want to, like the supercomputers that all want to take over the world. Yeah.
That is my personal favorite.
That one is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Voyager had a few colonies that you kind of see, like, that they encounter. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like I don't, like, the Klingons having a colony makes sense. Same with the Romulans and the Cardassians and stuff and whatnot. But it is weird that the Federation has entire ass, like, penal work colonies. Because, like, that's slavery, right? Like, I know our Constitution allows prisoners to be used for slave labor, but, like, you'd think the Federation wouldn't.
Well, you'll be happy to know that while I was researching all of this, most of the internet agrees.
Agrees that it's weird?
It is weird. Yeah, because you're living in a post-scarcity society. So, in theory, a lot of crime is just going to not exist, right?
Sure.
Because
Which, yeah, and that's fine. To be fair, every time they've been to one of these colonies, they were very like sparse populations. Like there were like 6 extras behind Tom Paris. So like,
yeah. Well, and like same thing with like the space station where they were housing Noonien Singh in Enterprise, right? Like,
right.
he was basically the sole inhabitant of this entire prison that was just built for him. And that seems to be the case in most of the examples within the Federation, at least. It is still weird to me that a society that advanced isn't just fully invested in the idea of like rehabilitating your prisoners.
Right. And I can see where like a penal colony as a concept could still exist in a rehabilitative structure, right? Because you need a place to do that. That's fine. Like if you have enough criminals that like we need a place where they can go get rehabilitation, and then like once they have finished their services and have satisfied whatever the court has sentenced them to, then they can be released from the colony, and that's more of a containment like logistical thing, right? But like it's the forced labor camps that I don't get. That's the part I'm having trouble with. And like I can't even say it's like some kind of anachronistic thing. Like this episode mentioned it, Like, what are we doing?
Definitely not slave labor. Nope.
It's not totally not slave labor. Definitely.
And like, if you want to talk about work programs being rehabilitative or whatever, you're full of shit, but whatever. But Burnham was sentenced to life. There is no rehabilitation according to her sentencing. We know, we saw her sentencing. So like, put her in a fucking cell and like feed her and like till she dies. Why does she have to go to a fucking labor camp? What the fuck?
So that she can get abducted.
Well, that's why she transferred labor camps. Because they were going from one labor camp to another labor camp, which means that there are more than one like prison labor camps.
Oh God. What a life.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, a little brief history of some of the more, I would say interesting, but that feels like the wrong word here. Situations of incarceration in Star Trek. So we're going to take another break, and we'll be back for some Potpourri with Stanford.
Hell yeah. Welcome back. So today for Potpourri, I thought it would be a little fun if we do what I am calling Star Trek Actually. Now, are you familiar with the Actually game that I'm probably not allowed to say the official title of from Dropout, like from College Humor?
I am, yeah.
I am not.
Okay. This game is very straightforward, Chris. There is really only one rule. The rule is that you have to answer in the form of starting your answer with actually, okay?
Okay.
I am going to say a statement. In this case, they are all about Star Trek, and there will be something that's not quite right about that statement. And your job is to be pedantic and tell me what is incorrect about that statement.
All right. I love it. Let's go.
Now, there are some slightly loose rules, namely that like, if you can find what's wrong, that is worth your point. But if the other person can then like explain exactly why it's wrong or like what the correct example of it would be or something of that nature, they would actually get the point instead. So that is the only kind of exception. And if something is taking too long, I will just simply, nobody gets the point and move on from there. Okay. So you are welcome to interrupt me as soon as you would like, but
actually, we are not allowed to interrupt you because you're the host.
That's sure. So if you hear something wrong and you want to jump on it before the other person does, you are welcome to interrupt me. That is an explicit like rule of this game. So we'll see how well I can handle that as opposed to Mic Trap. All right, question number 1. Star Trek Enterprise, originally titled just Enterprise, is the earliest television series in terms of the Star Trek canon. It details the first few years of Starfleet's first starship, the NX-01 Enterprise, as it extends humanity's experience beyond just a few neighboring light years.
Actually, the name of the show wasn't just Enterprise; it was Enterprise.
Mariah gets -1 point.
I did think about saying that. I'm like, no. That wasn't on purpose.
Negative.
Write it down.
Man.
I can read it again if you'd like.
Yeah, read it again.
Yeah, can you read that again?
Star Trek Enterprise, originally titled just Enterprise, is the earliest television series in terms of the Star Trek canon. It details the first few years of Starfleet's first starship, the NX-01 Enterprise.
Oh, actually, the Enterprise was not the first starship. They've had many other. They had a bunch of other ones before that.
That is correct.
The first Warp 5 starship Enterprise.
That is correct. Good job, Chris. Rob's like, oh, I see where this is going. All right. Question number 2. There are 9 of these, by the way.
Okay.
Question number 2. After being off the air for 18 years, Star Trek returned to TV on September 28, 1987, with Star Trek The Next Generation. It featured a whole new crew of plucky characters traveling on the USS Enterprise D to explore the galaxy and carry out Starfleet's mission.
Actually, it was released in 1985.
That is not correct.
No, yeah, that's not correct. I knew that.
Uh,
I feel like I don't know the number of years, so I don't know if that was the right amount of years or not.
You didn't, start your question with an actually?
That's because I wasn't actually answering. Actually, it was less years than that?
No, that's completely wrong. It was, in fact, 18 years.
Okay. You want to read it again?
Actually, the crew wasn't plucky.
After being off the air for 18 years, Star Trek returned to TV on September 28, 1987.
Actually, they weren't off the air for 18 years because they were syndicated.
Oh, shit. Did you just get me on a technicality? Fuck. Okay, I will give you that point if neither of you can pull the actual thing that's wrong here.
All right, read it again.
Yep. After being off the air for 18 years, Star Trek returned to TV on September 28, 1987 with Star Trek The Next Generation. It featured a whole new crew of plucky characters traveling on the USS Enterprise D to explore the galaxy and carry out Starfleet's mission.
Actually, it wasn't superseded by that. It was superseded by the animated series.
You didn't say anything about that, right? You didn't say anything
I
about
did not.
TOS
No, I didn't mention TOS at all.
Okay.
I think I might just give Rob the point then. Alrighty.
Yeah.
It is actually not called the USS Enterprise D. It is just the USS Enterprise. Its number designation is the D.
NCC 1701D. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, but it is still just called the USS Enterprise.
Yeah.
But I've definitely heard them refer to it in show as Enterprise D. So that's what's throwing me.
I'm not sure if that's true, actually.
Doesn't Scotty do it in the TNG episode? He's like, there's no Enterprise A, B, C, or D.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
No bloody A.
No bloody A, B. That's right, yeah. Next question. The entity known as Q has appeared in several series across a dozen episodes before having a main role in the second season of Picard. Most of these episodes had a Q-related pun, such as the Q in the Gray, True Q, Q2, Cupid, Deja Q, Q-Who, Q-less, etc. In fact, the only pre-Picard Q-centric episode which did not have such a pun was Encounter at Farpoint.
Actually, the one from Deep Space Nine did not have a Q pun.
That is incorrect. That is called Q-less.
I don't know episode titles enough, and I'm feeling like that's where the actually is. Read it one more time for me.
Sure. The entity known as Q has appeared in several series across a dozen episodes before having a main role in the second season of Picard. Most of these episodes had a Q-related pun, such as the Q in the Gray, True Q, Q2, Cupid, Deja Q, Q-Who, Q-less, etc. In fact, the only pre-Picard Q-centric episodes which did not have such a pun was Encounter at Farpoint.
Actually, he was in more than 12 episodes.
So, interestingly enough, I was using dozen in kind of a vernacular sense, but it is actually exactly 12.
Ha.
Ah.
Actually, it was the third season of Picard. Or no, it was the second.
It was the second season.
Second,
That's a
yeah.
good guess. That is the kind of shit I would do. Yes, you're thinking the right way.
Oh man,
Rob was on the right track with at least what was wrong.
Actually, the Voyager one that he was in was not, or was she?
He's in a couple of Voyagers, isn't
Yeah,
He is.
yeah.
So, yes.
I don't know enough about the. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't
will
know
give you
the name
point.
of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll give you a point because you were also getting there as well. There are three other episodes where they are not Q puns, and you both know the series finale of Enterprise of TNG has him in it, and that's all good things.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
The one where Picard goes and lives his younger life again is called Tapestry, so that one also. And then yes, there was a Voyager episode called Death Wish, which is not.
That's one where that's right. That's the one where he like wants to die, right?
The other Q wants to die, yeah.
Yeah.
Whose name is Quinn, I believe.
That's right.
Oh man. Now, in Lower Decks, he does show up for a brief moment in an episode called Veritas. However, it's not a Q-centric episode, so that was like why I had to throw that particular like qualifier in. But yeah. All right, who gets that? Chris. All right, number 4. The Klingon Empire is a heavily militarized culture which invests a lot of resources into weapons technology and production. This makes their warships formidable. Even the Bird of Prey, a relatively small scouting vessel, is well armed with fore and aft torpedo launchers and 2 large phaser cannons mounted at the end of its wings.
Actually, it's not a scouting vessel.
Incorrect.
Damn it.
Actually, they have 3 phaser banks.
Incorrect.
Actually, they don't have a rear torpedo launcher.
Also incorrect.
Damn it.
Actually, the Bird of Prey is not small.
The original Bird of Prey was small and only had a crew of like 4. So yeah, no, that is incorrect as well.
That's true. There's been like a dozen different iterations of Bird of Prey.
Yeah.
I like that they give them all like class names now.
Would you like me to read it again?
Yeah, read it again.
Yeah.
The Klingon Empire is a heavily armed, militarized culture. Wait, I'm sorry. Let me say that again. The Klingon Empire is a heavily militarized culture which invests a lot of resources into weapons technology and production. This makes their warships formidable. Even the Bird of Prey, a relatively small scouting vessel, is well armed with fore and aft torpedo launchers and 2 large phaser cannons mounted at the ends of its wings.
Actually, they're not formidable.
Actually, they're not wings. It's not flying.
No, they are considered wings. And actually, it does go in Atmo.
That's true, yeah.
Scout.
Actually, they're not at the end of the wings. They're at the end of the pointy things that sit on the tips of the wings.
Those are the phaser cannons to which I am referring. Yes. All right, I think I'm gonna call this one.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're disruptor cannons.
Oh my god.
Oh
yeah.
God, you're right.
Yeah. Klingons don't use phasers.
Yeah. See, you said cannons in there, and my mind was like, yeah,
oh, I
cannons
know.
is right.
I know. This game is fucking fun for me. Number 5. Kate Mulgrew played Catherine Janeway in Voyager, making her the first woman captain from Starfleet shown on screen. The show first aired in 1995, nearly 30 years since the original series debuted.
Actually, I'm pretty sure there was a woman captain in one of the movies.
Ooh, there was. Rob, could you be more specific?
Is it Battelle?
I don't know who that is.
Okay, then I guess not. Nope, I sure can't.
All right, then Chris, I will give you the point. The first woman Starfleet captain is actually a no-named captain that shows up in The Voyage Home.
I was going to say Voyage Home, right? Yeah.
The Miranda class vessel that first encounters the probe that gets shut down. It is captained by a black woman, actually. She is the first black woman captain in Starfleet, like on screen. Question number 6. The famous Starfleet training scenario known as the Kobayashi Maru tasked cadets with commanding a rescue mission of a civilian freighter which was in the Romulan neutral zone. It is considered a no-win scenario as there is no way to avoid a devastating firefight and rescue the civilians. Only one cadet, James Kirk, has ever successfully completed the scenario and only because he cheated.
Actually, it was in the Klingon neutral zone.
Good job. Yes, that is correct. All right, number 7.
Yeah. Romulan neutral zone didn't sound right, but I wasn't sure what the actual answer was. So.
Right.
Yeah, there was also a Klingon neutral zone just to make things, spicy.
Yeah, there are Romulan neutral zones, but this particular one took place in the Klingon neutral.
Right, yeah.
In the original series, William Shatner voices this famous narration: Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before. Unfortunately, we only get to see 3 of those years on TV, as the show was canceled after its 3rd season.
I'm actually
Speech is wrong, and I can't remember which part of it's wrong.
Go ahead. Mariah, go ahead.
It was Spock.
No. That is in the second movie.
As I say, he does voice it in a couple different movies, actually, but yeah.
But in the first one, it is William Shatner.
Yeah.
In the show.
Can you read it again?
Sure. In the original series, William Shatner voices the famous narration, Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before. Unfortunately, we only get to see 3 of those years on TV, as the show was canceled after its 3rd season.
Actually, he calls it the USS Enterprise.
Nope, he doesn't do that. Good guess, though.
Does he say, it says Strange New Life? Or is that what it was?
Nope. Strange New Worlds, Seek Out New Life.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I did a whole thing on this, like 10 episodes, 12 episodes ago.
I thought you'd get it right away, because you
Oh
studied
my
this.
gosh.
Did your dissertation on this.
Actually, it was canceled after 2 seasons, but only saved by a fan write-in campaign.
It doesn't count.
No, that does not quite count. Yes, no, you're correct. The show was also canceled after its 2nd season, I guess, but it was canceled after its 3rd season.
Actually, he refers to the Starship as her 5-year mission?
That's
right.
Not in this original narration, nope.
Like, it's got to be a part of it. I can't even. And you're right. Like, you did just do, was it the deep dive or the potpourri?
Yeah. At the end of Enterprise.
I don't know. I got nothing.
Alrighty. Chris, you giving up too?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. We actually do get to see years 4 and 5 on TV. They are the animated series.
Oh.
Wow.
I thought you were going to get it, Rob, because you had mentioned the animated series when we were doing the earlier question. Yeah.
It was a red herring. Putting the words in there. Thought for sure it was going to be in there.
Yeah. All right. Number 8. Deep Space Nine first aired on January 3rd, 1993. The pilot introduced us to a main cast of brand new characters: Benjamin Sisko, Odo, Julian Bashir, Jadzia Dax, Jake Sisko, Miles O'Brien, Quark, and Kira Nerys. This cast would later be joined...
Actually, Julian Bashir wasn't there in the first episode. He joins them later.
That is incorrect.
No, yeah, he was there. Sorry, can you repeat then?
Sure. I wasn't even done, but yeah. Deep Space Nine first aired on January 3rd, 1993. The pilot introduced us to a main cast of brand new characters: Benjamin Sisko, Odo, Julian Bashir.
Actually, O'Brien wasn't a brand new character. He was on TNG.
That is correct. Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
I almost made this question that Worf was going to be in the list, but then I liked how that one
That's too obvious. Yeah.
All right, last one. Across Star Trek, there have been lots of different types of torpedoes. Here's just a list of a bunch of them: antimatter, chronoton, gravimetric, isolytic, nuclear, photon, photonic, plasma, polaron, pulse wave, quantum, spatial, transphasic.
Oh, you just fuck you, I guess.
Yeah, that's my different number 9, was just a fuck you. Yeah.
Actually, there is no spatial torpedo.
It is tied, so whoever figures out the wrong one first wins. That is incorrect, Rob.
Read it again.
Actually,
no. We're gonna because it is tied. I'm gonna make you go back and forth here. Chris, the list is antimatter, chronoton, gravimetric, isolytic, nuclear, photon, photonic, plasma, polaron, pulse wave, quantum, spatial, transphasic.
Isolytic. I'm actually isolytic as a one.
That is incorrect.
Can you read them again?
Oh my god. Antimatter, chronoton, gravimetric, isolytic, nuclear, photon, photonic, plasma, polaron, pulse wave.
Actually, plasma torpedoes.
That is incorrect.
I'm actually nuclear?
Nuclear is correct.
Yeah.
Come on. No.
Yeah, nuclear torpedoes are a real thing we have right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, we have those now. I don't even remember isolytic though. What the fuck had isolytic torpedoes?
Dude, I had them and I was like, I'm not bothering like looking up each individual fucking episode. Some of them I remember, like the transphasic were the ones that were able to deal with like the Borg. That's the Voyager
Right,
ones.
yeah.
I was gonna say that's
I remember
Borg-y,
Chronoton too.
Isolytic may be the ones that dealt with the liquid space people. I don't remember. So with a score of 4-3, Chris, you do barely cinch that one.
Woo!
And then Mariah trailing up with a -1. Oh man, I hope that was as much fun to play as it was to write. I'm definitely gonna do that again someday.
That is fun.
So,
Yeah,
but for now and for tonight, thank you so much for joining us. Please give us a rate, give us a review, tell us, tell other people. Don't tell us. We already know about our podcast. Tell other people about our podcast, and we'll get some more ears on the pod. Other than that, we will see you all next week.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to Captain's Log Supplemental. You can follow us on Twitter at PodCLS or send us hate mail at podcls3@gmail.com.